shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Behave yourselves!
Hello YouTubers out there, this is Jerry Saravia at the movies. So, I have to say, Martin Scorsese is not just my favorite American filmmaker. He's also, I think, one of the greatest, if not the greatest American filmmaker that we've had since Stanley Kubrick. And every time he has a new film out, I'm excited to see what he's going to do next and what type of film he's going to do in terms of how he views the world, in terms of morality especially, a subject that doesn't come up very often, it seems to me, in films nowadays. Morality, guilt, sin, and possibly redemption. Although interestingly, redemption is not one of the themes of Martin Scorsese's works, not really. I can think of maybe Mean Streets as being a redemptive tale to a certain extent. Certainly not Goodfellas. Taxi Driver, I think, is an attempt at some sort of redemption, perhaps. But in general, it's the morality, immorality, perhaps even amorality, which would be the case with Casino. And Casino is an interesting film to discuss in terms of the context of his new film, Killers of the Flower Moon, of which I just saw the trailer. As most of you know, I don't do an actual reaction to a trailer, because I'm sure some of you have seen the trailer already, so let me lend my thoughts on it. This is based on a book called The Killers of the Flower Moon, the Osage Murders. That is the Osage Native American nation from Oklahoma. And the actual book title also includes the subtitle, The Birth of the FBI. So this is a lot of ground to cover. Some of this ground was sort of covered, although I haven't really seen it in a while, the FBI story with James Stewart back in the 1950s. Interestingly enough, some of this did come up, and that film is sort of about the beginning of the FBI. Of course, this story deals with the Osage Nation, and it's set in, I believe, the 1920s, and it's going to fall in line with greed. Very clearly, you see that. In the very interesting early shot of this trailer, we see the Native Americans there celebrating the oil that's coming out of the ground. Because, of course, they discovered it, they became wealthy, and guess who wants a piece of that pie? White people. Or, as Leo DiCaprio puts it, the wolves. Can you see the wolves in this picture? Which I thought was a very chilling line. Very well delivered. We see it at first when he's reading a book. Leo DiCaprio, who plays William Hale's nephew. I believe that's right. William Hale is an actual ranch hand, a murderous ranch hand, played by Robert De Niro. So, and Lily Gladstone plays, I think, the main Native American woman in the story. I don't know all the characters, obviously, at this point. But clearly she has an important role. I think she's married to DiCaprio's character, but I'm not sure. And, but greed will be the main thing. Greed is something that he has tackled in Casino. Casino, I think, really covered greed very well. All that money and more money and more money and not giving anything back. The robber barons take it. This sounds like that type of story. Except this is not the money that they were making. The robber barons are just taking it from the Native Americans. And then there's the greed, of course, was the main theme of The Wolf of Wall Street. Done more comedically, but certainly the greed was intrinsic to the success of that film, I think. But here's an attempt to cover it more, not to say the other ones didn't have a historical context, because they do. Casino and Wolf of Wall Street are based on true stories. But here, this is more of a historical epic, only in the sense that it covers so much ground. Much more ground than Casino, or nothing against Casino or the other one. But this seems bigger in context, in its sweep, and in so many different characters. So I was really entranced by this trailer. I didn't know really what to expect. Each time Scorsese does a new picture, I don't see how he's going to do it. I don't know if that makes any sense. You know, he is an iconoclast in his own way. And he makes tough, unbridled films. You know, pictures that are not really for everyone. And I would say that really about just about every film of his, with perhaps the exception being Hugo, I guess. Goodfellas was accessible, you know, to the mainstream. But his pictures are generally not for mainstream taste. So it'll be interesting to see how this film plays out. It is apparently not 4 hours long either. It's 3.5 hours, so it's still the longest Scorsese film by far. And I wish this kind of feel was in Gangs of New York, which I think is a great movie, but clearly that was meant to be a 3-hour production, and, well, you know who from Miramax Pictures decided to trim that film completely. Initially, Scorsese cut 1 minute out of a 3-hour picture. That's what Gangs of New York was originally. So, anyway, Killers of the Flower Moon looks very intense, it looks chilling, and maybe quite challenging. And those are really three things that are just not really for mainstream audiences. This is not going to be a big hit. I mean, I just don't see it happening. It's nothing against Scorsese. Certainly he's had some box office success, which has struck me as odd ever since he started working with Leo DiCaprio. This film might bring in an audience because of Leo DiCaprio, maybe more so than it would have had otherwise. Jesse Plemons is also in the film as a FBI agent investigating the crimes of William Hale. I read a little bit about William Hale. He certainly was a man who apparently also he ordered the murders of his nephew's wife's sister and mother, followed by her cousin, another sister, and brother-in-law to gain control of their oil rights. And this is family. We haven't even discussed what he did to some of the people from the Osage Nation. So Robert De Niro is playing probably one of the worst type of people he's played in ages. I mean, it will be interesting to see how he does this. So I look forward to this picture. The score is really something. If you hear it, it sounds it has certainly an elegiac tone to it, particularly like a Native American hymn trying to get through. Robbie Robertson composed the score, apparently. Those of you who don't know Robbie Robertson, he was from The Band, and if you don't know that, you need to look it up. But check out Scorsese's Last Waltz, which is a fantastic concert film from 1978, and I'll give you an idea. Robbie Robertson, I think, also worked on some of the music for Raging Bull, instrumental music, and I think he helped to select many of the songs, if not, certainly not all, but some of the songs for Casino. So he's been in, you know, a very important part in Scorsese's directorial life. So I look forward to this, but I can tell you right now, I'm not sure this is going to be a box office success. I would like to be proven wrong. I would like to say people will want to see this film, but I don't know. It comes out in October. It's being shown at the Cannes Film Festival. Who knows what's going to happen? This will be an interesting, we'll see how people receive this type of film. But Scorsese, to me, is not unlike Samuel Fuller from back in the day. He makes, for the most part, tough, uncompromising pictures. And he really deals with morality in a major way. This film also feels, which I love about Scorsese, it feels truly alive. Like every scene has a power to it. Every clip that was chosen, just it feels like you're really getting into this world, and that's something he can do better than just about anybody. So there you go. Those are my thoughts. Shout out to Tim, who had asked me what my thoughts were, and I forgot that the trailer premiered today. And that's all I got to say about that. So if you like what you hear, please subscribe to my channel. And reviews are forthcoming. My time is compressed, but my vacation is coming up. And there are people working outside, so I'm going to end this right now. Anyway, this is Jerry Saravia at the Movies, signing off.